Welcome to That Entrepreneur Life, a podcast about entrepreneurship that takes you from idea to launch and beyond. Each week, your hosts, Andrew Lees and Clint McPherson, discuss different business topics aimed at adding value to any entrepreneur's journey.
Adding value is what we're all about. We show that to our clients on a daily basis in our own endeavors that we currently are pursuing.
Hey guys, this is Andrew Lees and I'm here with Clint McPherson and we are That Entrepreneur Life.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
From idea to launch and beyond. Andrew came up with that tagline and I'm digging it, man.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's simple, but there's a lot to it, even with that simplicity. So we're trying to talk about what it's like to be an entrepreneur, daily life of that. But at some point you're going to get bored with that. So what we really want, the most important thing is we want to talk to people who are interested in taking action. Maybe you've got a business idea, maybe you've already started a business, but what we want to do is talk to you about how you can efficiently start a business, grow a business, and what are the things you can actually do. We don't want to just inspire. We want to inspire you to do things for sure, but we also want to give you the guidance and give you those tasks to do along the way. We're going to be interviewing some cool people, hopefully, in the near future, and we've got a few people kind of lined up, and so some episodes it'll just be the two of us, and some of the episodes will bring in some awesome people who can teach us about their entrepreneurial journey and at the same time teach you
And add value, right? That's what this is all about. So
Just
to piggyback of what Andrew just said, adding value is what we're all about. We show that to our clients on a daily basis in our own endeavors that we currently are pursuing. And I think just the adding value portion is what me and him talked about a little bit offline just a few minutes ago. But adding value, man, is where it's all about, right? Then over time, once you put yourself as that subject matter expert or you position yourself as that authority, the money comes, right? I really think once people start seeing that you're really about that life, right? That entrepreneurial life like we are. That's why I think that episode or the title of our podcast is just legit, and it really hits home because it's going to fit into any possible angle we take on this podcast, right? From interviewing the people that we bring on, the successful entrepreneurs, or even some of the local entrepreneurs that are out there grinding, because guys, it's not always easy, right? There is a struggle that comes along with it at the beginning, but once you learn and once you grind that out and you learn, and that's what we're going to do too. Lessons learned, right?
Yeah.
What we struggle with, what we failed at.
Yeah. There's always mistakes. I don't care what level you're at. If you're running $1 billion company, you're making mistakes, and it's a matter of learning from those mistakes and figuring out how to be more efficient. And that's the thing. As we progress in business, we're getting more and more efficient. We're learning things. We're learning from our mistakes and working on improving those things, and learning from other entrepreneurs too. Because there's a lot of information out there. Some of it's good, some of it's really bad. And it'll lead you down these rabbit holes that Clint and I have both gone down, where you might, if you're lucky to only have wasted your time. Sometimes you're wasting time and money, and you come out of it not really knowing, not being necessarily any better for it, but hopefully at the very least you're always learning, because there's always something to be learned from every success and every failure. So and that's an underlying principle, I think, of being an entrepreneur is you're gonna fail a lot.
Exactly.
But it's a matter of pressing on and continuing, because if you throw in the towel, it's pretty easy to throw in the towel. But if you're committed to it, if you have a really strong purpose and why you want to be in business for yourself, and you're committed to being successful and adding value, then you will be. You might have to pivot your business a few times. You might have to drop one business and start up a new one. And there's no shame in that. It's, but if you're committed to being an entrepreneur, you stick with it.
Yeah, and it's good to also know when to cut the cord, right? When to actually like pick up and move on instead of digging deeper and deeper down that hole. Because when you start something, obviously nobody wants to fail. But like you said, it's how do you fail and continue to move forward, right?
Yeah.
And continue to look at yourself at the end of the day. Because just because you fail at something, right, does not mean you've failed at that end goal, right? It's just you failed at that moment in time. Get your ass back up and continue to move forward. And that's, as entrepreneurs, we're already crazy in the head, right? We're already stepping out of the comfort zone.
Right.
We're already doing things that other people are scared to do.
Yeah.
Right. We've already picked up our stuff, and out of the corporate world I came, or out of the military, same thing, right? It's one of those things, is picking up your stuff, knowing how to move forward, knowing how to get education along the way, knowing who to listen to. Mm-hmm. And like you said about all this crap and clutter that gets in your way, and you go down the rabbit hole. Right. Yeah. And then we find ourselves lucky to, like, again, lucky that maybe it's just time that you lost, but again, that's time you can't get back.
Right.
So it's really learning how to focus, and again, just because you failed, move forward. Right. And that's what it's been about for me, for the last several years. It's just continue to move forward no matter what. You're going to face adversity. How do you face that adversity?
Right.
But step out of your comfort zone, which we'll have an episode all on that.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with what you mentioned earlier, adding value. We're going to have an episode for that. We're also going to bring individuals on that we know, that individuals we have networked with, and we're going to be networking with, hopefully at PodFest 2020 coming up shortly, and with Adam Bird at Heroes Media Group, Mike Penny at 5 Paragraph, and a whole bunch of these other entrepreneurs that are local to us and that we know, that we can just get some key nuggets out of. I think that's going to be fun.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, because every journey is different, and there's no set path to being an entrepreneur, to being a business owner. It's not like, I guess more and more there is some formal education about it, and about how to be an entrepreneur, and how to start a business, and what's the roadmap to success. But there is no one roadmap, and I think the journey is not linear, for sure, and so it's, you're going to take some sideways steps and some backwards, steps, and it's just, but you're, hopefully
somersaults.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, but some somersaults that you may very well not be getting. It may not be getting that exciting in a typical work environment. So yeah, we're gonna take you through that journey, through our journeys, and let's kick it off with our background and just give you some idea of where we came from, and what led us to starting businesses. So, Clint, I'll ask you first. What led you to this point?
That's good, and we had this conversation a little bit earlier, just getting in preparation, but. The cool thing is with this and how I became an entrepreneur, right? I was already not normal to begin with, right? Going into the military, doing my own thing, but I've always been, on a sports team of some type, right? My love at the time was college. I went all the way and played through college and baseball, growing and doing that and learning the discipline and stuff to be good at it, right? Always gave me that drive to be better. Fast forward, joined the military, and saw in the military I was an officer, right? So, skipped the line there, went from enlisted to an officer. But when you look at it, it was the journey of seeing all the toxic leadership that I encountered during the whole that process, right? I'm not saying I had some awesome leaders. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's some great guys in the military, but always having that passion of saying, like, I'm going to be better than that guy, no matter what happens, right? I'm not going to lead like him because I know he's not leading the right way. Mm-hmm. And so when that happened, right, and just backtrack a little bit on that, like I was a marketing manager before locally. Got the pink slip, right? I'm not afraid to say that, but it wasn't a pink slip that I caused, right? It was because of the economy, 2008-ish time frame.
Out of your control.
Out of my control, right? I was the new guy, low guy on the totem pole, and boom, right? Next thing you know, it's like me going to my locker and finding out I have a pink slip, right?
Right.
Crushing. Because I'm thinking like, oh, I landed this gig, I'm gonna kill it, right? And again, no fault of my own, but getting that pink slip, knowing how easily you can lose something, right? And then the same way when I go into the military, get injured, and having that 20-year plan initially to see it out as a career, going through several surgeries, getting injured in Afghanistan, and having several surgeries from that and having a recovery each time. You know, I didn't think that it was just conducive to my lifestyle anymore, right? I love the military. I wouldn't trade that experience I had for anything in the world. Outside, maybe, you know, if you told me you were going to take my family away, maybe I would have traded it then. But outside of that, man, the experience I had and the journey I had along the way, it was meant to be, right? So I went down that path, but it wasn't meant to be the 20-year mark that I thought initially. But seeing that toxic leadership transferred over into getting out and looking at it from like, okay, what am I going to do now? You know, I was not a digital marketer. I was a traditional marketer when I had a marketing management job in Raleigh. And then I was like, what am I going to do now? Okay, I went down the athletic, the sports administration or sports management side of things. Hated that at NC State. Decided that was not the way I wanted to go. If I was going to grind, it was going to be grinding on my own terms. And again, saw bad leadership in that area. And then looking at it, it's like, I cannot work for anybody else, right? I have to be the guy that makes that decision. And so having that little bit of entrepreneurial spirit just at the time, like it wasn't just a little. Now that I'm in it, I can say that basically like translated over to why I'm doing what I'm doing today, because I'm not going to be that garbage leader. Whether I have individuals under me or not, I'm going to be successful because I'm successful, not because, you know, I had to go against what my leader said because it was a dumb idea. Right. So that's my path, and that's how I got here. How I chose the digital marketing space, right? At the time, it was one of those things it's hot right now. And then my having the business administration degree on top of the marketing management degree, even though it was not degree, but time, I served that position for like almost a year. You know, I had a background in marketing, so it wasn't something that just, you know, came out of the blue. Right. But it would just seem like a natural transition, and it was a lot more natural, right? Because something we all have experience. Exactly, we all have a cell phone, right? Yep. I'm always on Facebook, right? Or doing something initially. Yeah. So it was just natural.
We're all being marketed too. If you can just take a step back and figure out how to reverse engineer that, that's it right there.
Exactly.
You know, and sometimes it's I deal with some marketing myself, although I have an engineering background, which I can get into, but But it really, whenever I try and overcomplicate it, it's, and I'm sure you've had that experience, and you try and overcomplicate marketing and try and think a little bit too hard about it and and really like dial in the perfect formula or the perfect this or that. Maybe it works, but also maybe it's just complete overkill, because at the end of the day, there's things that like we're being marketed to all the time. All of us are, and we all know what works to get our attention, to really get our attention, and really think about the times that you've been entertained, you've been interested in watching something, listening to something, and then ultimately purchasing something. What are the times that you're taking out your wallet and you're happy to do it because you want something that maybe you've seen over the course of a year and you finally decided to buy it, but it wasn't rocket science of how that company got their product in front of you.
Right.
They're providing a value, and they're providing some product or service that you found valuable and that you were interested in, that you were okay with spending money on. So I think it's important to kind of simplify and just reverse engineer what works for you, and that's a good start.
Oh yeah, and you hit the nail on the head when you're talking about a lot of us can really we're trying for that perfect formula, right? And we all think we could get there. Yeah. But as I've went on this journey, you got to put it out there, right? No matter if it's perfect or not, whether it's creating content, whether it's just doing something, creating a post, we're always trying to find that perfect recipe, that perfect formula. We're always trying to dial in everything to a T, but again, not everything works the same for everybody. What works for one client or what works for one customer might not work for the other. The niches are different. People's trying to captivate the individual's attentions might be different, as far as their target audience. So dialing that perfect formula never happens, right? But we all find ourselves wasting time trying to dial that in.
Exactly, yeah.
So with that said, man, tell us how you got started on your side, brother.
Yeah, so I think I've always had this entrepreneurial spirit, and from when I was a kid. I think I always knew that I wanted to start a business. I didn't know what kind of business, but I wanted to work with products. I did know that, so I wasn't exactly sure what kind of product I wanted to develop. But that's where my entrepreneurial journey began. I was kind of like a kid inventor, and I actually wrote a little book when I was, I don't know, probably like 11 or 12.
That's dope.
About maybe even younger, about inventing. I think it was called Inventing from a Kid's Perspective.
Nice. And little Einstein over here.
I don't know, if you read it, it's not super complicated, but hey, there's some pretty good, I think there's some, pretty simple, maybe some pretty true, principles in there. Some of the things that I put in there. I actually read it recently, and I'm like, that was
got some nuggets in there.
There's some good nuggets.
Yeah.
And did some cover art in like Microsoft Paint on Microsoft or Windows 95.
Even better, man.
Exactly.
That's even better.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. But so I think right around then is when that journey started for me. I'd always be sketching out different ideas for products, and some of them were pretty wild, from like super compact helicopters to little things that could help clean the kitchen table after dinner.
Nice.
Because I was just tired of wiping the table off, as simple as that is. That was that was like one of my chores. And so, I was, I coupled that with this interest in science, interest in physics and math and engineering. From kind of a young age. My grandfather was an engineer, so that's where I was like, all right, I have this interest in tearing things apart and putting them back together and inventing things. How do I knew from a young age that I'd probably go to college, that might be a good idea. So I was trying to figure out what can I do in college? What kind of formal education can I get that would wrap that all up, or give me at least a good foundation to be more of like an inventor and more of a successful product developer or inventor. So I decided to get a degree in mechanical engineering, and so I went to Lehigh University up in Pennsylvania, and I studied mechanical engineering. Then I kind of thought, hey, maybe I'll work on aircraft, and like I thought I always wanted to fly fighter jets, but I didn't want to necessarily go into the military. What young boy doesn't want to fly around super fast?
Yeah.
But like being in the military wasn't necessarily something that appealed to me. So I thought, all right, well, maybe I can design aircraft. I can design jets and spacecraft and all that stuff. And that was cool. And I still have some kind of an interest in things like that, in aerospace. And, but I got out of college. I worked for a big company, which I didn't work for an aerospace company right out of college, but aerospace companies are typically pretty big companies. And I worked for a company that made power plants, and it was a huge company, and I realized right away that that was just not for me. Working for somebody, I kind of always knew that I wanted to do my own thing. That was the end game. But I realized that as much as I loved aerospace, I probably wasn't going to be, unless I turn into Elon Musk,
exactly,
which would be great, maybe like Richard Branson or something. who were kind of both idols of mine. But I thought that it was more realistic that I have some kind of other business focus, and I didn't try and go through. I could have been in the aerospace industry for like 30, 40 years and not really had as much of an impact as I wanted to have in the world. I might be working on this small component of a spacecraft, and like that just didn't appeal to me. So
I like the angle you're taking, because the whole time you were speaking, man, I'm finding all of this very interesting, right? Because guys, me and Andrew, we've known each other for a little while now, but we've never really had this deep of a discussion together. So learning this side of it is pretty awesome. But that was going through my mind while you're talking, dude, this dude's Elon Musk, right? Like, just in a different form, right? But cooler. Elon Musk is like cool guy, right? Definitely one of my idols too, and somebody that I wish I can emulate some of the things and some of the successes he's had.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, he's a weird cat. I watched him on Joe Rogan, and he's definitely different, man. So his brain works a lot differently than a lot of people in this world.
Yeah,
probably like 99.9% people, it works different then. You know what I'm saying? This guy is he's just different. And that's not bad, right? That's awesome, because he is who he is. That's why Tesla's where it's at, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, man, sorry to interrupt on that, but I just wanted to throw that in while I was thinking about it, man.
No, you're right. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you definitely have to have, I think, to be an entrepreneur, you got to have, you got to be different. You got to think differently, because, I mean, the path to being an entrepreneur is not this standard paved path that, that most people go down.
Right.
If you want that, you're going to go to college, you're going to get a degree in business, or, accounting or finance or engineering. I did that, but, and you're going to get you get a job, and you kind of do that job, and you're good at it, and you have this level of comfort, which we're going to talk about comfort zones and the danger of staying in your comfort zone, and what, and really where the magic happens and where the success happens is stepping out of your comfort zone. But that'll probably be a whole nother episode.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, we're going to go down the rabbit hole on that for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, so it kind of came full circle after college, and after I had that job experience, where I realized that I wanted to start developing products. So I worked for a company up in Philadelphia, where we were developing products, and we were doing mechanical engineering consulting for companies mainly in that tri-state area up there. But I still had the hunger, had the desire to start my own thing. So while I was there, I started a business called Grassracks, and that is I surf, I snowboard, and skateboard. So I've got a lot of boards, bikes, and equipment that I didn't really know where to put. So I thought it really started from I had a surfboard and snowboard, and I wanted to put them up on my wall and display them in a cool way in my apartment, not in a garage or not in a basement or anything. So more of a display thing than storage, and that's where Grassracks came about. I couldn't find anything that was that really met my need on the market. Everything was kind of junky and meant to maybe be put in the garage and more storage type things. So I stumbled on bamboo as a really great material, started making some prototypes, and just started kind of grinding away at that over the years. And I started that about 7-8 years ago.
Nice.
And man, the struggle along the way, in the beginning was very real. I had no idea what I was doing. And I'm still learning things, there's still a ton to learn. Yeah. So, but I think that's where it really clicked for me. That's where my entrepreneurial journey started. Yeah. And then after that, I started Stoke Ventures, which is my consulting company, my product development engineering consulting company. And so, that with that business, I wanted to help other entrepreneurs start develop their products and help get them to market. So, that's how I got here. And, how I started building businesses, and
Nice.
it's been an exciting journey, but definitely like we talked about a little earlier ago, it's not linear. It's
Right,
not, you don't really, you have no idea what is going to provide you with value and what's going to take you to the next level, or
Exactly.
what's going to help your business, or
Right. It's no streamlined approach, right? Like whenever you're in the traditional form of out there, you're employed or you go to college for this specific job or whatever, you're groomed to do this. It's a more linear approach, right? Because you're going through a systematic approach to be an accountant, to be whatever you're going to be, right? And there's not much of, okay, you can change along the way, obviously, but you spent all these years doing whatever, and now you're not going to do it. And it kind of leaves you lost. As an entrepreneur, when you do this, is like you were just saying, it's not linear, man, because we can jump around and do so many different things. And we can take, just the market changes from time to time. The same way with McPherson Marketing Group, right? My digital marketing agency, where I'm able to just shift at any point in time, in what I do, right? Because
what kind of clients that you take on,
exactly,
businesses that you're working with.
I don't have to pigeonhole myself and just like focus on accounting, right? As an accountant, right? I'm able to branch out and do all forms of digital marketing and serve my clients in so many different facets, in so many different ways. It just helps out. And also, if I don't want to do this, I'm able to podcast like this or do something else, invest or start another business, right? Like same way with you, right? Grassracks was where your entrepreneurial, like as far as your entrepreneurship journey actually started whenever you embarked on that journey. But it led you to where you are today with Stoke Ventures. You're still doing Grassracks. You're successful, but again, like you said, failures along the way, lessons learned, and that's really why we're here, man. To talk about all that, to talk about our journey, but to also talk about lessons learned, what not to do, things that we know work. But again, just because we might give you a checklist or say, hey, this works for us, doesn't mean that works for you, because it comes into your determination, your motivation, how you go about getting those steps. If you skip from 1 to 10, right, you didn't do it in order, different things, man, play into it, different points in time, where you're at. And again, it's not easy. For the last 3.5 years or whatever, for me and my business, I've been successful and been able to say, hey, I've beat the statistic of, me being a new business and failing. I've already passed that, right? So I've got past that year mark or whatever it is, that, year and a half. I forgot exactly what the statistic is, but most small businesses fail. I haven't failed yet in this, but that doesn't mean strategies that have been placed in my business haven't failed. Right. But I've had to just wiggle out of it and step back and analyze the situation. And actually, just take it in the direction it needed to go. And not being oblivious to that fact, because me having a type A personality, if I want to do something a certain way, that's typically the way I want to do it, and so that can get in your own way sometimes, right? Because you're like, I'm not going to fail no matter what, but it's not working, so you're failing. So how about plan B needs to be initiated, even if you have one, right? So you have to adjust fire, like same way. And I use the adjust fire as because I was in the military, but you got to learn how to adjust course, right? And make sure, like, okay, this is definitely not the path, even though I thought everything through. Things change. I learned that on the battlefield. You come up with a plan. That plan, when things happen, things go down not as expected. You have to change, or you're not gonna, survive one. But it's just that angle that you need to take. You got to be able to adjust.
Yeah. So can you see why a lot of businesses fail? I mean, going through it, can you, like, what would be the number one thing that you think businesses do wrong and leads them to failure?
Well, I mean, and I think we talked about this. One of the main things is not really having a full-blown strategy in place, which ties into your go-to-market strategy that you incorporate in your own business. I think just thinking everything through before you act, because what I see a lot of small businesses do now, because that's what my passion is and that's what I work with, I see a lot of them they get an idea, they have a budget, but not a budget enough to really say this is a business budget, but enough budget to get a door open somewhere.
Yeah.
But they don't think it all through, right? Whether they have to hire employees, whether they have a marketing budget to invest in marketing for the business they just opened, right? A lot of them just open their doors and be like, I'm here. Without any strategy or any buildup of saying, hey, this is coming soon type stuff.
Right.
So I really think that I think the lack of hype that they try to generate for the business and not having a strategy in place outside of saying I'm starting business is really where the downfall comes.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think not being able to pivot, not being able to adjust, it, and continuously learn what's working and what's not working. See what frustrates people, talk to your customers, really find out what they want. And if you're always just striving, you're always working as hard as you can to give your customers what they're looking for, then I think it's a lot harder to fail.
Without a doubt.
And that doesn't mean that, like with Grassracks, we get people who will email us and say, hey, can you make a rack that holds like 2 golf clubs, a baseball bat, and a tennis racket?
Right.
And we're like, you're the first person, maybe the only person who's ever going to ask us to make something that's specific. You're
like, sure, we can make that, right?
Yeah.
But unless it's in demand or if it's people want that, we're just not doing it outside of you, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So that kind of stuff, so there's a limit to how much you can provide for your customers. You can't, it has to be efficient. You can't be chasing all these different custom projects all over the place.
Exactly.
And that's one of the things we learned about over the last few years with that business is stick with something standard as much as you can, but keep improving on that. If there's ways, if like if the majority of people are having a problem with some feature, you probably need to change that feature.
Right.
So you just kind of learn, you're not going to be able to please everybody, and you can't try to do that, but you do have to please enough people that you're providing a ton of value for a lot of people.
Well, your product or service needs to solve a solution or have a solution to somebody's problem, right? Right. I mean, you got to think that through. Mm-hmm. Just because you wrote a book, just because you designed this product, is it just a product that's going to satisfy? And just because you thought it was cool and that you were in demand for it doesn't mean the market's in demand for it, right?
Yeah.
You can be an inventor, and I know from knowing people that have invented things, their mind is always going. So they're always trying to invent the next thing, but there's so many failures along the way. Not saying that it's not cool, right? But they thought it was going to be cool in the market, but the market is not in demand for that, right? And because it really didn't solve the problem for him, the inventor, because it was like, I'm having this problem, I'm going to make this. Maybe everybody has this problem. It's cool when you strike gold, but it's not always the case, right? And so you just really thinking that through, like having a strategy in place, but making sure what product or service you are offering, whether it's local or on a global scale, that it solves a problem or that it's in demand, right? Have surveys in place. Like if you have an idea, it's really great to like put things out there and get feedback for it before you like go full force into this thing, right?
Yeah.
Just make sure that it's the right decision. I mean, again, we all make bad decisions. It hasn't been so, rainbows and butterflies and all that stuff in my digital marketing journey. But, you got to be able to continuously educate yourself and find time for that, but also know what's in demand and know where you can succeed. I think just stepping back from everything, looking at it from the whole picture perspective, instead of saying, okay, well, I have this cell phone. Everybody's going to want this specific cell phone. Right?
Yeah.
Apple has that. So if you come up with a cell phone, that cell phone better be damn good, right?
Yeah.
It better have something on Samsung or Apple. If you don't have anything on them, you better not even get in that game, right?
Yeah,
so,
it's got to different. Your product or service has to differentiate itself. There has to be a reason why people are choosing your company over another. There's plenty of Me Too kind of products and services out there, and that works to a point.
Yeah.
But I mean, make it obvious, that if you can make it obvious to somebody that they need to go with you, that they need to do business with you, where it's just kind of like a no-brainer, then it's just going to make everything so much easier. And that doesn't mean that, like I've heard people say, oh, my product or service, it markets itself. Nothing markets itself.
Exactly.
I mean, yes, it can help. Like if it is cool enough, you can bake in things like growth hacks, that will help people want to share your product. I mean, growth hacking is done a lot in software as a service.
Oh yeah.
In app development and stuff. But basically, there's features in there that the nature of the app, the nature of the product, make it so that you have to share it.
Yeah.
Or you really, really want to share it.
Yeah.
I mean, Instagram just is an example of that. Dropbox did that.
Yeah.
They give you free memory if you shared it with people.
Yeah.
Easy, just their growth went through the roof. So there's things you can do that even with physical products that make it very, shareable. But at the end of the day, nobody's ever just gonna put a product out there and it's just gonna like catch fire to where next thing you know,
right,
the whole world knows about it. Like that just doesn't happen. You have to be ready to talk to people about it.
Yeah.
Get the word out through like a comprehensive marketing strategy, and
definitely
and grow it. Yeah. Otherwise, there'd be a lot of $1 trillion companies out there.
Yeah, man. It's all about trying to generate that excitement behind it, right? I mean, I think really if you could generate the excitement, or at least have that unique selling point, like you said, how to differentiate yourself from your competitors, that's huge. Having that unique selling point and a unique angle that, maybe your competitors haven't thought about, and really approaching it that way, set yourself apart from them, so it can help you get that leg up. But I mean, guys, entrepreneurship's fun. It's real, and we're about that life, like on a day, exactly, on a daily basis. Me and Andrew talk from time to time, and just update each other on what's going on, and it's just cool to see. When you surround yourself with like-minded people that want to be successful, it's awesome, right? You want to do that, and that another hack. Cut the clutter out and surround yourself around people that want you to succeed.
Yeah.
Everybody says, do this or that, but I heard a lot of times once I decided to be an entrepreneur, don't do that. Go get a regular job. You're gonna not be successful or whatever. What? Like, no, that stuff had to be. I had to cut certain things and people out of my life that I might still love today. They're my family members and stuff. But look, people are telling you not to do something. It's because they're scared to do it, not because or they're scared that you won't succeed. But if in your heart, like me, I know whatever I do, I'm gonna be successful in. No matter if I do it, I do it, right. I don't just like half-ass things.
Right.
Like I go for it, right? If I knew when I told my wife this is what I wanted to do, or this was what I was actually gonna do, and she looked at me like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, let's make this happen." And again, here I am 3.5 years later, and I'm still kicking, right?
Yep. Yeah. And growing and doing better than ever, So, and I think if you want to. If you want to get better, if you want to get to a certain point, figure out who's already there and talk to them.
Yep.
If you're trying to start a restaurant business and you talk to somebody who's been very successful building restaurants, and starting restaurants, then and they've got some ideas for you. They're probably pretty good. Those are the people that you want to talk to. Those are the people that you want to get that. If they have been there, done that, and they're giving you some real positive feedback, and the positive feedback can come in the form of negativity. By the way, it can be, oh man, don't do that, or you know what, I'd love for you to start a restaurant, but you may be successful at that, but I would not go about it that way. At least talk to people who have some solid experience with that.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And then that feedback is going to be, really valuable. But yeah, I mean, sometimes, when it's something scary, when people are fearful of something, and they're just not sure. I mean, most people really don't know too much about starting a business, and that's one of the reasons we're here, is we're trying to help people understand that more. So
I think that would be cool to walk people through, like, even more when we deep dive in our journey and like what we did, because I'm pretty sure we took two different approaches to it. Not saying, I know we're in two different niches, but at the same time, like, what did you, like, again, this could be for another episode, but the steps you took to do it, right? Yeah. Did you go through InkFile and get them to do all the work for you, like I did, to get your LLC or whatever business or corporation that because I was like, look, the path of least resistance for me is to have somebody else do this so I don't screw it up. Right. Because I was like, all of these things I see along the process, I'm like, nope, I'm outsourcing this. This is what I do. This is what I'm going to be. This is what I'm ultimately doing right now in my business for a lot of things. But I'm outsourcing this task so I don't screw up and I don't have to repay money, missign a form, or don't put this in and now I have to repay because I got denied or something. So just things like that. Those will be good episodes too, to help people like listen to
absolutely
that. So.
Yeah, we can do a whole episode on when to outsource, when to do it yourself. And I mean, you can do most things yourself, but there's at least a few key things that you really want to have somebody else do, and at the end of the day, being building, if there's a few different kinds of businesses. There's like a lifestyle business, where you start and you really just want to have it support you, but you're not necessarily trying to grow it. You're not trying to scale it. You're not trying to, build it into something, into anything beyond just kind of taking care of yourself. That's fine. If you want to start a surf school in San Diego and, you want to give surf lessons all day, you're good at surfing and you want to be on the beach, boom, lifestyle business. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love surfing. I think a little too big for that. Like not to put anyone down who's doing that. Yeah, for sure. Because, they're providing some really good value. And it sounds like an awesome job, but when you're like the next Elon Musk or somebody that grew up like, you can't do that, right? Like, you can't surf all day, right? Even though you might want to. Yeah, exactly. So you got to figure that out too. Is what kind of business do you want? Do you want to start? Do you want to start? Do you want to just have some freedom? Do you just want to basically start a business that creates a good job for yourself, or do you want to scale something that that gets attention, like globally, or I mean, and it's not about the attention; it's about
large scale.
But is it right? Is there something that do you have a business idea that you really want to scale? And for me, I mean, one thing that interests me in building a big company ultimately is providing employment opportunities for people. I mean, and they don't have to necessarily be, kind of getting ahead of myself here, but they don't necessarily have to be full-time employees, of my business, but they can benefit from it because they're doing work, even on a consulting basis. Even with Grassracks, we have a manufacturing partner. We actually have a few of them, and they all benefit. We're basically creating employment opportunities for people through that, which is pretty cool, and something that besides the success of the business, I'm excited about that. I think sure that's a cool byproduct of it. So anyway, you can start a smaller business that supports you, or you can want to build something that you can really scale.
Yeah, definitely. And I think one of those things that you said earlier is like finding that person that you can talk to, or surrounding yourself with somebody that the niche that you're going after, right? Finding that mentor, people that you could surround yourself and learn from, people that have been successful. I think that right there is another episode we can do. But just that was going through my mind the whole time you were saying that. I was like, yeah, the mentor thing. You have to have your mentors, whether, I'm not saying you can't be mentored through a book, but, or a YouTube video or something, but you have to find those people that, that whether it's in that specific niche that you are focused in. I wouldn't waste your time outside of other people not within your niche. But I mean, obviously books, we learn a ton of value through reading and educating ourselves, and continue to educate yourself, because you can learn a whole bunch of strategies and ways to automate and things from people that have done it. It might not be in your niche, but it's very helpful for you. But I'm saying, like, when you find that mentor, it needs to be somebody that like has been successful in what you're going after, right? Because as a digital marketer, it doesn't make sense for me to go after the biggest real estate agent in the world, right? To be my mentor. Because I'm not slinging houses around, right? Or buildings or skyscrapers, whatever it is. It's just, that's not me. So I wouldn't surround myself with that. So just finding that right person or right group of people. And again, even though we don't work in the same niche, we're entrepreneurs that we can relate to the struggle, because you said earlier, the struggle is real, and it definitely is real. But it's, again,
sleepless nights.
Exactly. How do you move forward though, right? That's all. That's why we wanted to record this episode, so know that you can hear straight from our hearts and where we're trying to take this thing. And really, we have everybody that listens to this thing, we have your best interest at heart, right? We're going to continuously try to add value, like we talked about earlier. We're gonna challenge you from time to time to step outside of your comfort zone, and just get that confidence in yourself, because again, the confidence goes a long way, right? You might not know 100% what the hell you were doing when you start out, because none of us do, right? If you can have the entrepreneurial spirit, but until you started a business, you do not know how to start a business outside of looking at a damn checklist or researching it on the internet. Just because these are these steps doesn't mean your journey through what I experienced was the same, right? And it might be a lot more challenging to get certain things up depending on what business you set up. So it's just, we're going to continuously challenge you to move forward, try to motivate you in some ways, just by listening to us talk about our struggles, our successes, and bringing on people that can add value to you on a normal basis, right?
Yeah, we hope you come with us on this journey, and it's gonna be fun. We're gonna talk about a lot of cool business things, and try and bring in some really good real world examples, and hear from other entrepreneurs and what their stories are, what their challenges have been, and so it's gonna be pretty exciting.
Yeah, definitely, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to us, and continue to tune in. We're gonna be pushing stuff across. We're gonna get this podcast up and running, hosting. Probably is going to come through Heroes Media Group with Adam Bird and his crew. We'll be establishing a Facebook page, obviously a YouTube channel. Hopefully you can hear us on all the podcasting platforms here soon, as we get this thing moving forward.
Thanks for listening to That Entrepreneur Life podcast. Be sure to visit thatentrepreneurlife.com to join the conversation, access our show notes, and discover our fantastic bonus content. Don't forget to join us next week for another episode as we continue to add value. Until next time.